Two fugitives, as you know, escaped from a maximum security prison on June 6th. One has been shot. That is, in fact, the 49-year-old Richard Matt, shot dead by law enforcement. One is being pursued right now. David Sweat, that is the other one. David was serving a life sentence for killing a sheriff's deputy. We want to bring in right now Shawn Henry. He is the former FBI Executive Assistant Director, joining us from D.C. on the phone. Shawn, glad to have you with us. We have been speaking with former detectives from the NYPD. We know the FBI playing a role as well. From your perspective in that organization, what do you think is happening on the ground?
Well, I think the FBI is coordinating closely with all the law enforcement authorities there. I know the agent in charge up in the Albany division that covers that territory, and very collaborative. And certainly the FBI would be providing resources, whether it be aircraft, personnel, some type of surveillance equipment and that sort of thing. And that would have happened throughout the entire duration of this particular event. The FBI is as eager as the marshals and the state police and other authorities in catching these two. One at this point now that one has been killed, because this is a continued threat to people that are in that community up there, especially when you've got somebody now who's on the run. He's likely knows that his compatriot has been killed. He's at dire means here. He has
nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. So, I've heard Bo and some others here talking about it's very likely, they're in hot pursuit. They've got the daylight. It's clear weather. They've got all the resources. They're certainly surging all of their resources into that area, personnel, et cetera, and that this is just a matter of time at this point.
So, Shawn, hold that thought, if you would, because our colleague Rick Leventhal is actually about 3 miles away from where Richard Matt was shot dead. He has an update for us. Rick.
We're at a roadblock about 3 miles from the intersection that's closest to this last known location of these two escaped prisoners, where we believe one of them, Richard Matt, has now been shot and killed. That confirmed to me by a law enforcement source. So again, we're on Route 30. About 3 miles that way is Route 41, and near that intersection is where we're told Richard Matt was shot and killed by law enforcement who have been pursuing him and David Sweat for the last 21 days. This is obviously a major development for the 1,100 law enforcement officers and agents who've been pursuing these two for the last 3 weeks now. I'm just getting some information from my producer here that there is now, we can confirm, a pursuit for David Sweat, the second inmate. So we know that one of them, Richard Matt, has been shot and killed, and we can confirm that law enforcement is now on a foot pursuit of David Sweat somewhere in this area of Malone, which is roughly a few miles from the first location in Owl's Head, that first cabin where they found evidence of these two escaped prisoners, and about 25 miles west of where these two men escaped from the prison in Dannemora.
All right. Rick Leventhal joining us, as you heard him say, about 3 miles from where Richard Matt was shot dead by law enforcement. Shawn Henry, still with us, former FBI Executive Assistant Director. So, Shawn, as we just heard from my colleague Rick Leventhal, the pursuit is now on foot, and we are looking at video. Basically, well, we have law enforcement going through the foliage there, going through the trees. There's hounds, dogs everywhere.
Yeah, it's heavy vegetation. It's tough terrain. I think that's been reported throughout. The difficulty that law enforcement has had for the past 3 weeks in tracking these people. It's been slow going. It's been very methodical. If law enforcement is concerned, and they should be, that he may be armed, you've got to be really, really especially cautious as they're going through this underbrush, coming around trees, big boulders perhaps. There are ravines there. So it's dangerous for law enforcement for a number of reasons. First of all, the topography there is dangerous for them as they're walking through. And also you've got somebody out there who is presumed to be armed, and you've got to go a slow go here. The light will help. The daylight, the surveillance will help. Aerial surveillance will help. The dogs that are involved will help. But for those officers that are on foot, it's still a precarious situation.
I know that stuck out to Lee Swale, who's sitting beside me here, our top legal eagle, also a former federal prosecutor.
The foot pursuit is very important, because what that tells me is that they are really closing in. They are honing in. They know where this guy is. They've just got to really, and that's why they're going by foot. And now that that's been confirmed by Rick that it is a foot pursuit, that tells me a lot.